Hello everyone, welcome to Too Far Flying. Today we are going to fly the Carenado Citation S550 in X-Plane 11 from Jackson Hole, Wyoming at the Grand Teton National Park over to Santa Ana, Orange County, John Wayne International Airport or whatever. Kilo Sierra November Alpha it's called. And we're going to do that using this beautiful small private jet. I actually really like it, so let's get into the cockpit and get going. So I'm using X checklist to help me along here, and I also have my paper procedures right here. I just got this aircraft yesterday, so I did a small stream with it. If you want to check that out, it will be in my channel as well. It was a bit of a complicated mess trying to get this thing flying, but today I think I'm a little bit more ready. So let's get going. We're gonna start powering this baby up. So we have done our pre-flight inspection, that's all fine. We don't need a flashlight or fire extinguisher since this is a simulator. The documents I do have with me, oxygen quantity we will check is sufficient. Circuit breakers are all in here. Those are all in, and mine are all in, so checked. We are on ground power now, so I'm gonna quickly get some light in here, since it is early in the morning in Jackson Hole now. Okay, that's right. Control locks are removed. Generators will stay off since we are on GPU power. Fuel boost pumps will go normal. Normal. Okay, alright. Crossfeed is off. Gyro slave switch is let's see, right there. Auto. Standby gyro is checked. Seatbelt sign is off. Then we'll get our pressurization set. Yeah, I don't know exactly how this pressurization system works because it's a bit different. I would expect you to select the cabin altitude here. However, we had some issues yesterday. We want to keep it at 7,000 to 8,000 maximum, so I'm gonna leave it like this because we got a cabin altitude alert yesterday once I set my cruising altitude in there. So that is checked. Throttles are still in cutoff. Engine synchronizers are off. So we will go battery to on. AC power and avionics master can come on, that we can set our flight plan. Rotary test. This is the first flight of the day, so we'll go through all of these tests as well.
TOS, system test OK.
Terrain awareness test start. Terrain awareness system passed. Terrain awareness test complete.
Left engine fire. Right engine fire. Ready.
Alright, so we did our checks here. System is checked, parking brake is set. Engine instruments, we have no flags. Electric elevator trim is functional. And we have our airspeed bugs set at about 180 knots for our climb out here. Fuel quantity, we are carrying 5,000 pounds of fuel today, which should be more than enough to get us over to Santa Ana. So alright, now it's time to start programming our flight computer. So we'll go check out our flight computer view here. This is the default X-Plane FMS. I'll go route menu, company routes, and I did download it, so it's KJack to Santa Ana. In here, set we don't have a flight number, so because we're a private jet airline, we aren't really an airline, we're a private jet today. Okay, so the route is in. We'll go VNAV. Our climb is checked, so speed restriction is in, transition altitude is in. Cruise, we will cruise at flight level 320 initially, I think, if I can check my flight plan here. Yeah, 320 initially, then 340 at Pinchot, but we'll go 320 first. Flight level 320 is in. descent, the speed restrictions are checked. This is all normal. The legs that we are going to be flying today: Jackson Hole and Alpine 2 departure. We'll enter that shortly. Kikni, Picho, Table, Winan, Blip, Natty, and then the Ruby 3 arrival into an RNF Zulu approach to left in Santa Ana. Okay, these legs make sense. Then we'll go departure. We're going to be taking off runway 19er, flying the Alpine 2 departure, no transition. We'll select this. We're gonna try this anyway. I don't know if this doesn't know that we can, or we're just gonna leave it like this. And then we'll go arrival into Santa Ana, and we'll go Ruby 3 via Nutty, and then we want RNAV Zulu to left via Fitter, and those are all active now. So now the legs should include the runway, the departure, and we don't want the discontinuity, so Fela, come in here. So we'll execute this. This is what we need to see. Alright, that's done. Radio navigation, we can nicely set everything up here. We will squawk 2000 for standard IFR, and these are all as required. Now for the departure we want 1154 set maybe in our nav. So we'll go 115.4 nav 1, and the course is 192 outbound. Have that set up, then will bring us to Kikni, even though it's all GPS as well. It's just a backup now. So GPS FMS has been set, flight plan as filed. Then we can remove our static objects, close our baggage door, main door, static elements. Seats and pedals are as required. We are ready to start, so we'll go nav light on and beacon light on. Yeah. Cockpit lighting is as required, nice and bright. AC power, we will switch those off for our engine start. Cabin door is closed, but we will close our cockpit door as well. And then before start checklist, pre-flight inspection complete, cabin door is locked, passenger briefing is complete, battery switch is in battery, parking brake is set. Let's check that. Yeah, it is set. Wheel shocks just removed, seats and pedals are adjusted, cockpit lights are as required, and rotating beacon we just turned on. So before start checklist complete. Alright, we can go ahead and start our engines. So we'll make a hand signal of number 2, will be started first, and then we'll go igniter 2 on, start number 2, active, introduce fuel, and monitor the engine. We have ITT rising. Fan RPM increasing as well. Engine is nicely cool. ITT is checked. Doesn't exceed the red line. And our engine is stabilizing pretty soon. Looks like engine is stable. Then we can go start number 1. So we'll go igniter number 1 on, starter number 1, introduce fuel, stable. After start we can go disconnect the GPU, but we will first go gens on, so then disconnect the GPU. Alright, check that we actually have a halt on the generators is checked. AC power master switches on. Passenger advisory lights will go to passenger safety. Cabin pressure controls set. Temperature controls auto, normal and auto. Gyro pressure is in the green. Anti-skid will go on. Inverters, we'll cycle them. Checked. Belts and harnesses are fastened. Exterior lights. We are ready to taxi, so we'll go our wheel lights on. Set and before taxi checklist. Avionics power switches on. DCM faults were checked. Anti-ice system checked. Passenger advisory lights, passenger safety, anti-skid is on. Gyro pressure was checked. Battery temp is checked. Pressurization set. Electric elevator trim. See, still works. And we'll set takeoff. Speed brakes, cycle those. Yellow light comes on. And yellow light goes off. So checked. Passenger seats, check belts and harnesses fastened. 80% clearance not required. We have the weather. Avionics are set. EFIS is established. Checked. Inverters were tested. Autopilot will test that as well. Get this armrest out of the way. Go autopilot on. There are flight director autopilot.
Autopilot. Autopilot.
Disconnect. It's checked, so before taxi checklist complete. Alright, we will set transponder to on. So it's in on mode now. 2000 squawked, set, and we will start taxiing. So release the brakes. Flight controls will go forward, aft, checked, then up on the right, up on the left, checked. Get in here, rudders have been checked, flight controls are free and correct, and flaps will go takeoff. Is selected and obtained. Alright, autopilot and flight directors, we will go altitude select 15,000 for the departure as the initial altitude. We'll go indicated airspeed mode and we'll go heading nav armed. We'll select the GPS for our navigation source, and that is checked. Anti-ice de-ice, we will go pitot heat on. All annunciators are cleared, and we want we will turn on our bleeds for takeoff as well. Our bleed anti-ices, or we can turn them on now since it's snowing. So we'll go wings bleed on, engine bleeds on. Set, and we want to do a quick thrust reverser check now as well. Both unlocked, deployed, checked. Flight instruments, they are checked. Altimeter here in Jackson Hole is 3002. It's set on both. Yeah, that's correct. And the altitude selector is 15,000 for the initial departure. Radios are as required. We have that VOR frequency tuned. Fuel quantity and balance is checked. Pressure source selector is normal. Speed brakes are retracted. Flaps are takeoff. trims are as required. So elevator trim is in the takeoff, rudder trim and aileron trim are actually neutral. And then takeoff data we're going to be rotate at 100 knots, so that is checked. And we have our climb bug set at 180. Crew briefing. I did brief you guys, so we are going to be flying the Alpine to departure, which is actually straight out to Kikni 15,000 or above, and we're going to have to fight to get that done. And what else for the departure? Then after it's going to be straight out, so we're going to be a normal departure, a normal takeoff on runway 19er. Briefing complete. Taxi checks. Go check. Exterior lights as required. Brakes and steering checked. Flight instruments checked. Thrust reverters checked. Taxi checks completed. For takeoff checks. Ignitions are on, anti-ice, de-ice we have selected on, pitot static heat is on, exterior lights we will go anti-collision recognition lights on, and those are all as required. TCAS to transponder to altitude mode. Engine instruments are all in the green except for our oil pressure, which is a little low. However, if we get some more power in, that will increase. Annunciator panel is checked. We just have anti-ice on, which is normal. Departure runway, so we'll line up and wait before takeoff. Anti-ice systems are set. Flight controls are free. Flaps and trim are checked. Takeoff data is checked. Crew briefing is complete. Lineup check complete. So we'll line up. Alright, we're lined up. Departure runway matches the heading. Our takeoff checks are completed. And we will go. Ignitions are on, pitot static on, exterior lights are on, transponder checked. Annunciator panel is as required. Throttles will be set for takeoff, and then engine instruments will be checked. So takeoff. We'll go. %, power is set. Power is set. Airspeed is alive. Engine instruments are in the green. Rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Nav mode. Speed is checked, flaps go up. Select a climb thrust of 106%. We're at our climb speed now. So we're 18.6 miles from Kikni. We are definitely going to make that altitude 1000 to go. And let's select our cruising altitude 320 here in the display. Because there's no further restriction. flight level 320 is set. Alt select is armed. Alright, that's 1000 to go. Standard is selected. And let's keep an eye on if it actually levels off. You still have alt selected on. Altitude is armed. Starting to encounter a little bit of light chop here. Look, our VSI is decreasing, 200 to go. And airplane is leveling off nicely at flight level 320. Alright, we are currently accelerating and we're gonna leave it accelerating up to about max speed that we can do, about 245. Seems with some comfortable margin. Let's make it 240 is what we're gonna aim for. Because of the turbulence, we'll leave some comfortable margin with our with our maximum Mach number. Now cruise checks is just fuel, pressurization and cruise power, so all of those are to go. Alright, welcome back everyone. We just passed the Fela waypoint, which means that we can start our descent initially to flight level 280. So I am going to select flight level 280 in my altitude selection window, and now we will go indicated airspeed mode and altitude select armed. I will reduce power to about, let's say, about maybe a little like this to get about 2000 feet a minute rate of descent. And we will do our descent checks. So our defog fan, we want that on high. We'll go defog high. Foot warmers are closed. Airflow distribution is cockpit. Pressurization is set. So we'll select, for pressurization we'll select airport elevation, which is, let's take a quick peek at our chart. We'll select airport elevation, which is 56 feet, so about there, and our cabin starts to descend as well. Pressurization is set. Windshield bleed air valves, we want them both on max. Anti-ice and de-icing, no clouds, and let's check the weather in John Wayne. Broken to 50, so there is gonna be some clouds, but we don't see them right now, so we can leave. We can switch these back off. I turned those on because we were flying through a little bit of cloud there. So anti-icing is set. Fuel is balanced, no crossfeed. Descent checks, we will go over our descent checklist. Foot warmers closed, defog fan set, windshield bleed set, airflow distribution set, ATIS We have the weather, pressurization set, anti-ice as required, exterior lights as required. So we're actually already descending through our altitude now. Let's give it a little bit more power. Was 1000 to go. And we don't want to slow down too much when we level off, so can keep it at about 240 now, since we since our descent caused our Mach number to actually decrease now. Could go a little faster, but about 240 is sufficient. Set there. Let's continue. Anti-ice as required, exterior lights will be set and altimeters will be set. So descent checklist completed. Alright, so we're flying the GPS. The RNP approach runway, RNP Zulu to left. Alright. MSA 7000. Minimas 347, so 350 decision. So we'll go height 350. Set 1 1/8 statute mile visibility required. We have 10 statute miles or more, so no approach ban. And missed approach is as published or as directed. Briefing complete. Check our progress. 6 miles from Jordan. So at Jordan we want to be 12,000 or above. And that is what we are, kinda. We're getting a little fast. It's fine, but don't want to be faster than we have to be as well. We don't want to be slower, but not faster either. We want to be on 240 if possible. Gives me margin on both sides. I have to remember that the lower we get, it seems that we need less and less power to maintain that speed. There's 240, let's get it up to about 80 and see what it does. It's still decreasing slightly, make it 82, 83. Yeah, well, it's holding 240 knots, nice and steady. Next, Ruby 10,000, which is in 1 mile. We go to Jordan, so let's set 10,000 already. 10,000 selected. And we're heading towards Ruby, so indicated airspeed. Alt select armed and reduce power to about 70%. We have 8.3 miles to descend 2,000 feet, so plenty of time to do this descent. The longer we are at a reduced power setting, the less fuel we burn. So 1,000 to go. QNH is set. And we have 4 miles to go, so we will be at 10,000 about there. Maybe reduce our power just a little bit, get a little bit more descent rate. Get our landing lights on, our recognition. Oh, it's a big shake. Is everything okay with the aircraft? I think it is. Okay, whatever. All of these lights on. Landing lights are on. That was a 10,000 now. Next is gonna be Slipper 8,000 or above. And that's right there, so we'll go 8,000. Alright, approach checks. Altimeters are set, belts and harnesses are on, passenger seats are checked, cabin and emergency lights were checked, recognition lights on, landing data is selected. Anti-skid will come on. Pressurization is checked. Our delta pressure is decreasing and we are 0 cabin altitude already. So checked. Avionics and flight instruments are checked and set. Briefing we just did. Passenger advisory lights is on. Passenger safety. GPS selector is on GPS. And we'll go. Bank limiter off. Approach checks. We will get the approach checked. Landing data checked. Crew briefing checked. Completed. Belts and harnesses fastened. Avionics flight instruments set. Passenger advisory lights set. Passenger seats checked. Fuel crossfeed off. Anti-skid on. Pressurization checked. Flaps will go. Approach. Engine sync will go off. Approach check is complete. Fox Yankee Tango Romeo Romeo, which is the initial approach check, that's right here. So we're on the approach now. We maintain 4,000, but we will slow down to 200 knots for, let's make that 190. For our flaps. So we'll go flaps approach once we get there. 4.3 miles we can descend down to 3,200, so we can set that up. So we're below speed, so speed is checked, flaps approach. Ballooning a bit, but the autopilot should correct for that. And we'll get power in to compensate. It's 200 to go. And we're turning final for the runway over there. We do have the glide coming in, so we'll arm approach. Yeah, that is approach. Don't know if it's gonna work. Four miles from the runway now, so we can start our descent. So speed is checked, gear down. Three green. Slow it down. Set the buck for 100 knots for approach speed. Speed checked, flaps full. It's a nice balloon. Add in some power to anticipate that speed decrease. Add some little bit of nose up trim to keep it up here. So we are on the center line on our glide path. Stable. Landing. Quickly set up missed approach altitude as well, missed that one. Set, okay, we're getting a little high, so that's correct for that, and we're getting a little fast. So let's pull power and get the nose lower. Okay, we're back on. I'm flying visually now since we are visual. Let's say we're clear to land, so gears down, 3 green. Landing checks are done. On speed, on glide, and on localize, on center line. Landing. Okay, can I get a little low here? 10. Oof. Did a little bit of nose slamming there. And the landing was okay. We're not using any reversers today. Just on the speed brakes and brakes. Alright, after landing checks. And it's good. Can come off. Pitot heat, anti-ice off. Exterior lights will turn the recognite off and we want the anti-collision light, not the nav light. Off. Set standby gyro is as required. Transponder will go on. Radar is standby. Weather radar, we want that. That means so we go standby. Flaps are up. Speed brakes. Let's retract them. Trims reset to takeoff, and then after landing checks. We have got thrust reversers are stowed, flaps and trim are set, speed brakes are retracted, ignition's normal, pitot static off, anti-ice off, exterior lights as required, transponder is on. Checked, after landing checklist complete. And then we will taxi over cross runway to right, and then make a right onto the ramp, park at the FBO. Alright, and let's set our parking brake. Shutdown checks. Park brake is set, transponder will go off. AC power, avionics master off. Overheating defog fans off. Throttles to cut off. Alright, now they are spooling down, switching off. Exterior lights all can go off. Off actually is off and not on. Passenger safety off as well. Battery switch off. And shutdown checks. Avionics off. Cooling system off. Standard gyro is gauged. Parking brake set. Throttles cut off. All switches to normal. Shutdown checks completed. Alright. And then we can open our door and get outside. Nice, nice, nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to John Wayne Airport in the Los Angeles area in California. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, and sharing with one of your friends if you think they might want to see this as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and see you later. Bye bye.